Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Factorio Bob's Angels, episode 45, halfway on our roadmap to my very vague, not promising prediction that I'm going to make it to Power Armor and a new kind of biter slaying episode, episode 50. So we start the episode off with lining up a load of research that should hopefully last most of the episode. Now we've upgraded all the iron coming in to the factory. I also upgraded the belts on the bus for iron, so you can see there's now 4 iron belts, red of iron coming through, so that should help research go a lot quicker. A few more priority splitters, but I promise we won't talk about those this episode. And yeah, like I said at the end of last episode, I've connected all the combination sorting down to the smelting area, so we're now using that primarily, and I don't think any of the miscellaneous sorting is running at the moment. So the premise for the first half of the episode is setting up a new crude outpost, as we've depleted the last one already. Crude 2's now down to the slowest speed. So I have a train running those two. What I'm going to do is add a new train to this one for now, and I'm going to module that other one up, and then if that train can handle a third station, then we'll do it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I do add a new train to this one. So we get that lined out, kind of working backwards. We start with the loading depot first, and then yeah, we work out to the derricks. So yeah, we start placing out the tanks. So yeah, in between episodes, I did a lot of belt upgrading. Didn't feel it needed to be in a recording because I was just going around, making sure all the 4 belts are in and upgrading it to red, which just took a little while waiting for the belts to be crafted by the factory. And yeah, I think I mentioned at the end of last episode, I doubled up the number of sorters for iron. So we've got now 2 full red belts of iron coming down from the combination sorting, and 100% of Javolite's going into that. None of it's going into MISC sorting, but we are still doing a little bit of Sapphirite miscellaneous sorting just to get that extra iron coming through. And copper combination, in fact all the combination sorting have all got circuit conditions on the belts, so when we get a certain amount of ores, they will shut down, but they will run at a greater value than any of the miscellaneous. So miscellaneous will only ever kick in if the ores drop below a certain amount. So when we get a certain amount of iron built up from miscellaneous and combination sorting, the miscellaneous will switch off first. The other thing I did in between episodes was add 4 belts for copper. So yeah, you can see that we've now got 4 red belts of copper on the bus. And I did put in some splitters for a bit of the science just to make sure that runs nicely. But we do need a bit more smelting for iron. I don't know if I'm going to wait until we get speed and productivity modules, but we're not filling up those 4 red belts yet. But I do have room for another 2 iron belts on the bus. Or we could use it for copper, but I'm pretty sure we're going to use it for iron. So we had to head back to the factory. I thought it was all prepared for this episode, but it turns out I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. I did think I set up pump jack production in the factory and had requested it for the train and had a slot and everything. And I even thought I checked it before the episode and saw that it was in there. But no, we didn't have any on us at all, and we didn't have the materials to make the latest ones. So we had to head back and go and pick up the materials to make 9 of these, which we're just doing now and placing out. But yeah, I was all smug at the start. I was like, I'm going to be nice and prepared finally for once. And it turned out I wasn't. It was a bit silly, really. So I try and give this station a bit more access for the pump jacks. We put in 3 underground lines out to where the main bulk of them are. There is one right next to the depot there. Another one out to the side, and then these 7 ones here. So yeah, these 3 lines were all I could give it with the 4 pump sort of splitter, trying to equally load the train. Not majorly important if it's always full, but when it starts to get a bit empty, it does kind of help to load it equally. We try and give each of these, their own line into these 3 pumps here, but there are a couple of them that do share. In fact, looking at this now, do we give 4 of them? Yeah, I think 4 of them are sharing one line there. But if it ever becomes a problem, I can always upgrade this later. Again, fluid mechanics not being my forte. We stick a pump on those 4 just to help push that lot through. But most of them get a single line into there, and it should all work okay. But yeah, until it gets properly running, we shall see. So we get it all switched on at the end, and I realise a massive mistake in what I've done. While I'm messing around with the power poles, trying to get a signal in with these horrible messy poles. I didn't like how the cables came out on this one. I might go tidy it up. We go and check the pumps. Everything's working okay. They're all pumping. None of the pipes are backed up yet. And I realise none of it's going into the train. And right at the start, maybe because of how it looked, I thought that was a space down. And I really didn't check. I just put it down, thought, yeah, it looks all right. I did the whole thing. So that messes up my whole layout there. And yeah, I get a bit frustrated, take them out, and I put them in properly. But I didn't take them out in the right order, and we lost whatever was in the tanks. I mean, it's not much, but it's still some that you know, disappears into my pocket and never comes back. So we get all that done. That's all finished. We set up the train destinations for the depot. Because we took out that power pole, it did disconnect the green circuit for a second, sending the Rubite train in, removing the signal on it. Because Rubite's completely dead at the moment. Until that train gets back, I have to get loaded again. But we're not using it too fast, which is great. So we're not getting constant attacks up there. And we come and have a look at the crude depot. I've set both of the crude chains to manual to prevent them from coming. Because the other thing I wanted to do in this episode is rebuild the oil depot. If I'm going to have more than one train running, which I think I'm going to have, I'm going to need a station that's going to have a waiting area for an extra train if they ever come at the same time. So we start taking out the crude area. I see that the thermal train is there, and I completely cock up, taking that signal out without thinking. And the thermal train smashes right into the back of Farl, which is always fun. So I take out the crude tanks, which were pretty much empty, but it did still push whatever crude was left into these last two tanks, which I then remove in hopefully the correct order as well to push that crude through. I know it works with tanks. I don't know if it works with pipes, but yeah, there wasn't much in any of those tanks anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So I look out at laying out a new crude depot, which is going to be a bit bigger. It's going to be quicker at unloading. It'll have the double-sided unloading like we've used at thermal, but it's also going to have waiting area for a couple of trains. So it's always going to be able to handle how much crude we're going to have coming through. By the end of it, we are going to be needing a hell of a lot of crude for how many rockets I would like to launch. We're going to need it for solid fuel as well. Is that what it's called? Solid fuel. I never really use it. I don't like turning oil into solid fuel. I like turning it purely into petroleum or light or heavy oil. I don't like using it as a fuel, but of course for rocket fuel we're going to need a lot of it, so we're going to be bringing that in here and making that here. So we create a little waiting area for any crude trains, and I mess around a bit trying to get the entrance, the entrance right. We started off with building the exit, but this should still have enough space for a train. I did try and test it. I tried to send both the trains at the same time. I couldn't find the other train in the list in time, and yeah, the train unloads before the other one gets there. We don't send it now. We ask for Farl to come back now that thermal's got past. But yeah, that happens in a little bit once we've laid it all out. We just get Farl to come in case we need anything. In fact, we do need something. We've just run out of track, which is why I called it. We didn't quite get the entrance finished. One of the things I need to get in Farl is some pipes and sort out why pump jacks aren't working, because I thought I'd done it, but clearly not. And I messed around with the signals a little bit. We need chain signals coming out, but I don't think we necessarily need them going in. We start laying out the pipes exactly the same as the thermal depot. To be honest, I probably should have just taken a copy of the thermal depot and just got the bots to place it rather than doing it myself. That probably would have been a hell of a lot quicker. But no, I didn't think of that past me. Was too excited about laying out a new depot. So we get all the pipes and everything laid out. Again, like with the thermal depot, it's going to be set up in such a way with the 9 Mark II tanks, which can store about 45,000 units. So a train will never come into the station where there's not room for a full train to unload. So there's never going to be a train sat in here waiting while its tanks slowly unload. There's always going to be room for it to empty itself. So yeah, we place the 9 tanks out, which can store 45,000. But then you've got another 16 tanks sat around the train. So a train will never be waiting. And the train coming in there, that's when I tried to do a test. I tried to send both the trains at the same time, but I never checked the original train as to whether it was actually going to come, and it turns out it wasn't full. I had no reason to leave the station that it was at because it was still waiting to be filled up. So yeah, pretty poor attempt at a test, but yeah, I checked all the spacing. It all looks like there's room for 2 waiting trains while there's one in the station. But to be honest, it unloads that quickly. I'd be surprised if we're ever going to be using as much oil as this station could deal with. One thing I've just noticed is I've not put the green circuits on the top 4 tanks. The green circuits on the actual depot tanks aren't massively important. It's what we have in storage. It's just nice to have a reading of if a train has just come in and we don't want too many trains coming in all at the same time and filling it up when only we really need one to deliver it. So we just take a reading there for what's in the tanks before it gets pumped over to the main storage bit. So we've got all the depot laid out, and now start laying out some pumps to put plenty of pressure into the pipe from the storage. I think 5 pumps is what you need to fill a pipe completely, but I just like the 4 pipe pump layout. And then we have a look at these pipes here, and I start to realize that because I'm not using underground pipes, the pressure's really poor. So as far as I'm aware, an underground pipe counts as 1 pipe or 2. So by laying out underground pipes along that whole section, you get a lot better throughput than using normal pipes, which is why I never understood why people use normal pipes exactly like I have here. So I come along and start replacing all of the inputs with underground pipe in between each of them, like where the outputs have done. So yeah, I start looking at the pressure to begin with, and I mess around, and then I realize, yeah, these all need to be underground pipes, which does take me longer than it should have done. And to be honest, it probably would have been better having it down 1 space so we don't have that 1 pipe coming off it. So again, I might go tidy that up later. So that'll hopefully help with the pressure and the throughput there. I have noticed I've left some of the normal pipe in between the undergrounds there, but I was kind of rushing this episode. I wanted to get this right, but at the same time, I didn't want to spend too long messing around with doing things that I've already done. So I come on and notice that half the refineries aren't running, and it's because I'd missed one of the underground pipes. So that's now all running nicely. But one thing I noticed later on, which again I need to go and sort out, is the hydro plant can't purify water fast enough. So we're going to need to upgrade that and potentially add another one. So for the second half of the episode, we're looking at the rest of the things we need to do to get electronic logic boards sorted out. I was thinking I could get on with it this episode, but that was a bit naive. There are a few things that are a bit of a problem stopping us from doing it. The oil was the first one, which is why we focused on that at the start of the episode, because we're going to need a lot of plastic for electronic logic boards, and we're also going to need a load of sulfuric acid. And since I've stopped most of the miscellaneous sorting, we're getting none of that sulfuric acid from there at the moment. We do use a bit of flotation for some of the other combination sorting, so we will start getting some back there. But I kind of noticed a bit of a derpy move I made before when we did the silicon plates. I reused the quartz line thinking, oh, this is the only thing we use quartz for, completely forgetting we need them for fiberglass boards. So I moved the silicon plates onto another belt, and we moved quartz back into its designated column, let's say. So every ore has its own column that it should be using, and I should never have used it for the silicon. I should have done what I've just done in the first place, but no bother. We've now swapped that over, and we've now got the quartz coming down to here. I also take a quick look at the gold recipe. That's another thing we're going to need for electronic logic boards. Handily enough, these are all the things we also need for modules. So yeah, we're going to be doing modules very soon. Maybe next episode, maybe the episode after. We should get electronic logic boards done fairly soon. Now, the problem with adding more stuff to the Bob's sub bus now is, it's going to slowly encroach into the lake, and yeah, may eventually reach the other side. But yeah, we're getting near to the end of the things that are actually processed down here. We've got nitinol and tungsten to do. I could do them down here, or I could just bot it and do it up in the bot area. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't like botting things unless I have to, or if it's something that's really inconvenient. But we'll see. I am going to be doing a lot of modules with bots. Maybe we'll go bot heavy now and not reach the other side of the lake, because yeah, there's plenty of biters waiting over there for us. So we've just driven up to the factory to go and get a load of landfill, because I got bored of waiting for the bots to bring it, and there was some pretty ridiculously crap driving from myself there, trying to get up there, because I was frustrated and I was trying to rush to get the other bit of the episode done, and we crashed into a load of pipes. But I don't bother fixing them. The factory can do it for us now. Those pipes are made in the factory. So yeah, the bots can clean up my mess. That's what they're there for. And we can now fill in the lake to our heart's content. I don't want to fill it in too much, but it is very handy being able to keep this lovely straight and neat Bob's sub bus going. So we look at how far we need to go for another RoboPort. And I'll probably not go any further than that can reach. And then anything else we need to do, I'll just get the bots to do it in the factory and we can module it, because at some point one machine doing anything is going to be fast enough with enough speed modules. So we start laying out gold next. That was one of the goals for this episode. We need it for the electronic logic boards and we need it for modules as well. So we get that laid out. We start doing it backwards. The end product's done first, and then we'll do some saltwater electrolysis for the chlorine. And then the other thing we're going to lay out is fiberglass boards, which are fairly easily done. And once that's all done, we pretty much have everything we need to do electronic logic boards, yellow science, and modules. So that pretty much lays out the premise for the next few episodes. As long as nothing major goes wrong with the factory, next episode will be electronic logic boards and modules, which is then everything we need to do yellow science. Then we have all the science packs, I believe, for Revolution. And then we can get on with doing modules and the modular research. And if I'm being a bit too optimistic, we may even get to some of the Bob's power armor. We may be able to get a better suit than the vanilla power. Could get a few into those. It depends on what we need. And yeah, so right up until episode 50, I'm just going to be working on getting the best power armor we can. I haven't looked at destroyer drones, but that would also be nice. That would be pretty cool, because that would help us out a lot. Because running around with the flamer waiting for stuff to burn does take a little while. So the destroyer bots would be very handy for that. They are quite resource hungry, or at least they are for me, considering how many of them I throw out. But we will need a load of combat robot research done to actually have a few out. So that very much depends on how well the factory runs up until episode 50. But yeah, I need to not make too many promises on that. So we get the factory to lay out a lot of these belts, because I'm going to run out by the time I get down there. So a lot of those we get the factory to do. I do some of it myself as well. Bit of a mixture. But we're bringing the gold down. It's one of the things I forgot to bring down when I was up there. Probably could have done it earlier, but it doesn't take us too long at 3 times speed. So we have everything hooked up we need to make gold. The gold ore will come down eventually once the bots have placed all of that belt. I think they've just about finished placing it there. And we get the output done for gold, which will take up in a minute once we've done fiberglass boards. Fiberglass boards are pretty easy. It's just a combination of plastic and glass. I've not got a specific smelting area for glass. I'll just do it on site. It's a tiny bit more efficient. You don't have a belt of glass running for miles. We just have this little bit here. And we get a fairly sizable attack up at Sapphirite. I haven't been up there since upgrading it to laser and putting in RoboPorts. It's been pretty self-sufficient. I should know when it needs repair packs, because it'll start saying no repair packs, obviously. And I haven't had to go and do that yet. But as we're doing this, it continuously gets attacked. The number of engaged turrets, it goes up pretty high. I don't actually check where it's for. It's not flashing or bleeping at me, so I'm not too fussed. And we pretty much rush the production of fiberglass boards. I go and have a quick look at gold, because I realized I had the adjustable inserters GUI switched on and it messed up the gold output. So we get the glass smelting laid out with its inserters, and we have the fiberglass board assemblers. Probably too many assemblers for what we're going to need. We only really need 2, considering we're going to have modules soon. And we get the output done for that, and we have fiberglass boards being produced. I take a double check just to make sure we've got everything to make electronic logic boards. The rest of it will all be done up on the bus. Like with the other circuits, we'll get the ferric chloride made up there. The boards for it will get made from the fiberglass, because we do use those in a number of other things, so it's nice to have them produced nice and close. It'll be like the layout for the last circuits, although I do have an idea for a slightly different layout from what I normally do, but I'll see when I go to do it, see how we're going to lay it out. And while I'm trying to finish this off, we get a huge attack up at Sapphirite. They finally work their way around the defenses using the rampant AI. I kind of wish I'd put the wall all the way around, but I never bothered because I ran out at the time and I never bothered to go back and do that last little bit. And I always thought maybe they won't sneak round, but eventually it has been a while since that's gone in, but they have now inevitably made their way around the defenses. And yeah, a lot of stuff got destroyed. I got a bit worried about losing the whole train, but yeah, we'll go and have a look at that in a second. I want to finish the job here, get this done. We finally finished all the research we did at the start of the episode. Even though that said it would take half an hour, it's taken us nearly an hour to do. I accidentally set modules while trying to set something else. It was a prerequisite, and of course we can't do modules yet, so I then change it in the queue. I just forget to go into science to manually change it, because of course putting it in the queue won't get it to set because I'm rushing getting these belts in. I want to get it to the logistics loading bit, I guess, for the next episode. We're getting the factory to do all the belts for us because I haven't got enough on me again. I've just done that bit backwards, but we get the factory to do it because the bots can just place it as soon as it's produced the belts for us. We take a quick look at the oil, and that's where I realized we're not getting enough purified going through, so I'm going to need another hydro plant there. But apart from that, we've now got plastic sorted for the next circuit, which does use a huge amount of plastic, so that's all sorted. And for the end of the episode, I just go and have a quick look at how bad the carnage is. It's bad enough that we can't get there automatically. I have to manually drive up, and it's not actually as bad as I thought. We've lost a load of track and some power, but the train is intact. Nothing is damaged at the base, which is pretty surprising. But that's going to be all we have time for this episode. Please do come and join me next time. Bye-bye.